All right, welcome to another episode of Steve's Model Railroad Build. Hope you're enjoying things so far. We've gone through quite a few things. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about a few different things. Uh, the first thing is I had mentioned in one video about how happy I was at, um, when I started this project, it's really fired up my imagination. And model railroading is a wonderful thing. And one of the great things about it, more important than anything, besides just putting track together and running trains, there's so many sub areas that you can really explore and get interested in. Everything from the types of locomotives, um, different eras, um, how rail yards work, how switching works, um, how railroads actually run. These are all things that if you're interested, you can just go and go and go and just learn like crazy. So, some people they're really into writing the computer code and programming their trains, but it's all a great opportunity to learn and have fun. So, however you do it, don't just try and expand things. The other thing is we learn when we do things. So, it's good to challenge yourself, uh, learn your limitations, but at the same time, when you're building a model railroad, you're going to encounter a lot of problems and challenges that you need to solve, uh, and you can solve, and you will solve, and that's very satisfying. So I just wanted to mention that there's a lot more to it, and then there's the whole art aspect of it all, designing scratch buildings and constructing them, painting them. Even if you work with plastic models, there's so much that can be done with them. And there's another thing that the pros call kit bashing, and that is um, you might get a kit for one thing, but then you take a whole bunch of parts from it and use it for something else. Use it to build something else. Other kits too. Sometimes come with two or three different options on how to configure it, and so those pieces that you don't need for the options you didn't select, they can be used for other things as well. Okay, so that's that. So it's a real opportunity to learn and get excited. And some people might say, "Oh, it's so old school," but you know, that's if it doesn't interest you, it doesn't interest you. But um, it should be of interest to a lot of people. The next thing I wanted to talk about was safety. All right, so we've talked about safety before, especially when it comes to knives and paint and glue. I'll go over knives a little bit. And this also applies to if you work in the kitchen. So basic knife skills and safety skills, they're transferable. These types um, of hobby knives, utility knife, this is an X-Acto knife, pretty common. They make it hard for you to get it out. Okay, so you look at that blade. I don't know if you can see it there. It's sharp as a razor. Sharp as a razor. So probably even sharper than most razors. So you always want to handle these with great care. And if you're a younger person, you probably want some supervision at least at first. So a couple of basic rules about using a knife. All right. Uh, the first rule is you never point it at yourself. Okay. Never point it at yourself. You never get the blade in a line where um, if you slip or something, it slides out. Okay, so you should always try and cut away from yourself or down, and always be careful. Make sure your fingers are out of the way. Uh, when you're working with kitchen knives, chefs will curl their hands like this, and then so there's no fingers sticking out. Okay, so be extra careful, uh, especially when you're starting out, and always remember, always cut away. If you do need to, you might have seen me in another episode, kind of scraping something. So whatever you're going to scrape, you're scraping off paint from something. Okay, even then, okay, the the blade is perpendicular to what you're doing, so even if you do slip, it's not gonna bother you. And also, it's very short strokes. And if you look at how my thumb is here, can you see that? Okay, this thumb. Okay, if you hold your thumb properly, that blade's never going to get to your other thumb. Okay, I took the end of this thumb off a long time ago. It's eventually grown back, but it was just flat for a while. So you don't want to do that. Okay. In real life railroads, safety, like with most industries, is really paramount. It's number one. Uh, you're dealing with big, heavy equipment that's moving, has lots of moving parts. Uh, you're walking across rails, all that kind of thing. So it's really important to always practice safety first. And it's the same with your model railroad. You're going to deal with a lot of things that you always want to be mindful of safety. The knives we talked about, paint, glue, even your track and its wiring. It's a 12-volt system. If you get electrocuted, probably not going to kill you, but it's not a nice thing. So, and really, don't freak out because you're not going to electrocute yourself. Unless you try and do something really stupid. Okay, so just follow the rules, and if you're not sure what to do, there's plenty of stuff out there, especially when you get into the wiring and things like that. Not as I said, not to worry too much about electrocuting yourself, but more to you don't want to mess up your wiring, so you fry your controller or switch motors or whatever the case may be. DC is pretty simple, goes around in a circle, one circuit, and but wiring can be tricky, and how that's done is there's plenty of tutorials out there for that. Okay, so that's about it for safety. When you are building models, working on your railroad, if you're doing bench work or whatever the case may be, you want to make sure your area is clean and tidy, and you don't want things lying around on the floor that can be tripped on and things like that. So basic common sense things like that. And so that's it for today. So you got to see me. Here I am. Instead of just my knee in the camera. So, but this isn't about me. It's about the trains. So, anyways, just keep the safety in mind. And obviously, if you have a parent or guardian who's happy to help you on this journey, then they can supervise you, and you can build and learn together, which is a lot of fun. Okay, so we'll see you next time, and so play safe, and I'll look forward to seeing you.